This is Let's Talk Teens, a parenting podcast sharing tips on raising amazing teenagers. We are both certified life coaches that have worked with teenagers as coaches, mentors, and teachers. We are sharing what we have found to work best when dealing with teens and tough issues. This is Abbi and Cheree, Let's Talk Teens, episode 31, Finishing Strong, How to Help Your Teen Finish the School Year Strong.
Oh, we're getting close, right? Close to the end of the school year. And I don't know why, but it just seems like when the closer we get to the end of the school year, the more our brains want to be like, and we're done. And,
Yes.
and the weather's getting warm, and we want to be playing and being outside, and we just are done. We're almost done with the school year. And I don't know if all of you parents are out there, if you have the similar situation, but when my kids were teenagers, the sloughing way increased that last term or trimester or whatever you're in because everyone's done, right? And the weather's
Yeah.
nice and it's just so hard to keep them going strong. And so I thought this is one of those episodes that I would have loved as a parent when my kids were teenagers and needed to finish strong. So here's a few things that I think that would be helpful as parents that you can do is sit down with them and have a little, okay, let's finish strong. Let's finish this school year strong. Let's create a plan. Let's figure out how to do this. And I think validate that. Of course, you're tired of school. Of course, the weather's warm and you want to be outside. This is a real thing. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. We really want to watch the labels, this is a real thing. Like we all experience this burnout. We're all ready for a change. We're all ready for summer. Let's create a plan to help us get through, help you get through, and how I can support you in this and what you want to do, knowing that, like what is your future self going to think about this? How important this is to like finish strong and why you want to finish strong. Because I think because of course our pleasure brain's just like, no, I just want to have fun. But really, you want your teen and you want to help them understand they don't want to have regrets. And next year or the next year when they're applying for scholarships for college, they're going to not want to have any regrets and be like, oh, I wish I would have just pushed it a little bit harder at the end. And so talking to them about that as they create the plan, like, okay, let's create a plan of what you can do when your friends are like, let's just slough. And you know what? There might be sometimes you slough, but I want you to really think through this and let's create a plan for um, how you can finish strong with your grades and what your homework can look like and what needs to be done and when you can take a break or when it won't be quite as important for you to be right on top of it. I think you need both.
Yes. Okay. I was having PTSD from my teacher days because you're done as the teacher. Like everybody needs to know that too. But then you just see these kids like they're coming unraveled, right? And I think both teachers and parents, you guys deserve a medal by the time this school, especially
100%.
when you get your senior through, you're like, Mom, Dad, you deserve a Medal of Honor because
Yep.
it is hard. Okay, the senioritis is so real, especially after spring break. Like it is so palpable. Now, I was loving what you were saying because I feel like if you sit down with your son or daughter, one, you're like coming to their level and you're being approachable, and that you're like, listen, I remember being a senior. I remember being a junior. Like, I remember how hard this was. And I love this tip of being smart because I taught seminary, right? And there was so many days that you could miss without needing to do makeup work. And I'd get really real with my son or daughter. Sometimes there's a fear of if I talk about it, I'm encouraging them. No, I feel like we're giving space and allowing them to have permission, but sitting down and literally talking through, okay, you've missed 3 days of seminary. So you can miss two more before you have to do makeup work. And I don't want you to have to do makeup work that can mess up graduation, that can mess up these things. So I'd tell my son or daughter and be like, listen, you can slough seminary two more times, okay? So pick those days carefully because after that, you're going to do makeup work and I'm not going to excuse your absence, right? But
Mhm.
my son or daughter will be like, woohoo, mom says I can slough two times, right? And it's a win-win. Or go in and saying, hey, listen, you cannot slough math. Like your grade is right on the edge. But hey, if you tell me that, you've got 2 days in art class that if you miss, it's not going to impact your grade, okay, I'll meet you there in the middle, right? I feel like that can be really huge with our teens. They all of a sudden see us as not a rule enforcer, but as like a loving parent that understands what it's like to be a teenager. And we're kind of giving them an out for those very real, very intense pent up emotions. And I just remember the emotions at the end of school are so extreme. It's either you're so sad because that year's ending and your friends are going, and especially senior year. I just remember one friend in particular, she was like crying and she's like, we'll never have this back. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Because I'm like cheering inside. I'm like, peace out. I never want to see, all these people again. And so it's okay if your teen's kind of on extremes. I love your idea of sitting down and talking to them because you really can help them figure out how do I do this strategically without creating more work or trouble for myself.
We had to do a little bit of that too. Like, okay, this is how many days that you're allowed to slap. And then with one of my kids, um, lunch money was like such a huge motivator to go out to eat. So it was a little bit more that we would give him so that he could go out to eat for lunch and not have to like bring something from home and heaven forbid in high school, like eat school lunch, right? And so it wasn't like I was trying to starve my kids and I wasn't gonna give them lunch money, but I'd be like, if you don't sleep this week, I will give you like bonus lunch money next week. Or or if you slept more than this many days, then we're deducting your lunch money and you can still take a lunch from home. I'm not gonna have you starve, but it was a good motivator for him, which I think is something that we also want to talk about is, how to motivate your kids and to help them like what is their motivator, what is their why for finishing strong, and have them come up with their whys. We can have our own whys as a parent, of course we do, but what's their why? Why would they finish strong? Why would they study for a test even though they're burnt out? Why would they get their homework in? Why would they go to school even when their friends are sloughing? Like, what's their why? And then really have a motivating, like our whys motivate us, but also like, okay, let's celebrate those little wins of, okay, you did the whole week. Now you get extra lunch money. Or, you know what, you did 2 weeks straight without sloughing. I think you should for sure take a slough day this next week. You plan the day that would be best to slough. I
Mhm.
mean, isn't that so funny as a parent? You're like, okay, you just won a day of sloughing, like go slough. Maybe it would take out the fun for them, but really helping them motivate them and help them, want to finish strong because they know why they want to. And our brain loves dopamine. And that's why I think the rewards in there is so important of having some type of dopamine hit when they do push through it, when they do show up big for themselves, and have them come up with that and help them come up with that.
Yes, and rewards are huge. It works when they're little, it works when they're big, right? Like rewards are such a great parenting tool to have in your belt, right?
Mhm.
And I think too when we acknowledge that I know you're gonna slough, or I know you'd like to miss this class, or you're gonna leave with your boyfriend after fourth period, right? It prevents any need for rebellion. It prevents any need from dishonesty. Um, and it just fosters more of an open relationship because you're willing to meet your teen where they are. Now, do we all
Yes, I
wish
love that.
do we wish our kids were the most amazing little robots who went to school every single day, never gave us trouble, finished strong? Like, absolutely, right? And if you have a kid that this really isn't a struggle, give them a big hug. Please, like, tell them how proud you are of them because sometimes we really focus on our child who is missing every period. And instead of acknowledging, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of my other kids for sticking strong and I don't have to worry about this with them because we're all human. I even think with work, with the warmer weather in the spring, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this, right? So even as adults, we experience this just a little bit.
Yeah. And even with our kids, as you're talking about, telling your kids that don't struggle with it, good job. Like, I'm so proud of you. I think even with those who do struggle with it, who are lacking the motivation, pay attention to when they do make it to class and make a big deal of it. Be like, buddy, or dude or whatever, son or daughter, like, I so know this is hard for you. And I was really proud of you for showing up to this class today. Or I see you in this. This is so hard and you're so burnt out and you're so done and you're still going. Like, I'm so proud of you. Or just notice what they're doing right with it. So, two more things I just think that it's important to do is like sometimes just that plan ahead of, okay, let's put it in your iPhone or whatever kind of phone you have. Let's put in when things are due or when your tests are. Let's just put it into your calendar on your phone or put it somewhere where, okay, we know that there's a month or two left of school and we just want to make sure you're not missing any assignments and you're prepared for these tests. So yeah, I know there's somewhere in your content and stuff you get from your teachers, but like let's put them right in. Let's put them right in your calendar so you're very aware of them. That's going to help not have any surprises. So really planning ahead. And then I think also helping your teen create a good study environment. I think when our teens study in their room, they're probably not going to study as well. They're going to get distracted by so many things. Their bed, their phone, anything that's going on in the room. Help them create a study environment up to the table or in an office if you have one in your house or somewhere where they won't be as distracted and help them do that. I mean, again, we need them to, we don't need to control them or tell them how to do that. And we want to make it their idea. So, hey, would it help you to come study up to the table? I know it's so easy to be distracted in your room. Or, yeah, I see that you're studying in front of the TV. What if you just come and like spend some time in here and just get done so then you can go hang out with your friends or whatever? What are your tips on that, or what are your thoughts on that and just having a good study environment?
It's so important as a parent that you do check in because, yes, we wish our son or daughter, they might be 16, 17. You might even have an 18-year-old, right, about to graduate, and they still need you to hand hold it for them. And that's okay. Like, nothing has gone wrong, mom and dad. I kept thinking, like, even if you are just going week by week till you get to graduation or till them being done with this school year, like, celebrate you. Celebrate the fact that you're doing it. And it's okay if it is a drag. And it's okay if every day you're like, what assignments have you done? What about this? Like, it's going to be a hard season of life. And it might not be, right? But if that is what your child's leaning towards, right, it might be a hard season of life. With your idea of the studying, I thought, do you know what'd be fun is if, you can do this, mom and dad. You could say, hey, I know you and Sarah like to study together. How about I buy a pizza for you guys after school and we can do homework right here on the table? Like
Love that.
helping, yeah, helping make it so it's like a fun thing they get to do. Like, oh yeah, my mom will buy us a treat. Like, let's go study at my house. And so without even really telling our son or daughter, we're rewarding them for studying by being like, hey, do you want to invite some friends over to study with you? I'll buy a pizza. Do you want to go get ice cream as soon as you're done with that test? Like, let's go do it. And it doesn't even have to be super formal, but I think we don't realize how much power and influence we can have as parents as we just subtly reinforce the good behavior that we are seeing.
Absolutely. So good. Well, we hope this helps you as parents help your teenager finish strong the last little bit of school. They can do it. You can do it. We are so cheering you on. And Abby and I just appreciate you listening. If you want to rate or review our podcast, we would so appreciate it. And if there are ever any topics you would like us to cover, please pass that along. We would love to help you out.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Teens with Cheree Murdock and Abbi Winslow. If you are looking for more tips to help your teenager, here's where you can find us. You can find Cheree Murdock on Instagram at Cheree Murdock Coaching or on her website, ChereeMurdock.com. You can find me, Abby, on Instagram as Abbi Winslow or on my website, AbbiWinslow.com. Please rate and review our podcast and share with a fellow parent. Thanks for listening.